Welcome to Write to Publish, your go-to podcast for all things writing and publishing. I'm Karen Stanley, a 14 times published author and the founder of Mabel and Stanley Publishing. Join me as I share a multitude of tips and insights drawn from my own writing and publishing journey. We'll be hearing from some inspirational authors too, who will share their writing experiences and top tips for success. Each week, we'll learn about an aspect of writing, from composition to genre and from publishing to marketing. Listen in as we learn and chat about all things writing and publishing, and let's get you on the right path.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Write to Publish with me, Karen Stanley. And this week I'm joined by the lovely Jackie Sansom, one of our authors, sharing their author journeys and their writing processes and what they've loved and found challenging about the writing process in general. So thank you so much for joining us, Jackie. Jackie has been one of my Academy members since the very first beginnings of it, weren't you, Jackie? You was a founder member.
I was proud. I'm glad to have kind of been right at the beginning of, well, sort of at the beginning of your journey as well.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. It's lovely to have you. So Jackie, do you want to share kind of the name of your book and a little tiny bit what it's about, your first book?
Okay, so my book is called I Am Agnes. It's a story about Agnes and her journey. She starts off in quite a dark place, but it's very much about a spiritual awakening, quite a gentle touch on that and her journey. It's written in the first person, from quite a bleak place, actually, to a place of kind of finding herself, I guess, at the end.
Yeah.
Meeting different people along the way.
Lovely. So it's a great story. It's a great story, and it is real dark to light, isn't it? And about the kind of trials and tribulations of life, really. So what would you say motivated you to even start writing a book in the first place?
I have always wanted to write a book. I've always done writing. I've gone through kind of like short story writing, poetry, scripts for stage and screen, tried my hand at that, didn't get very far, but so the interest has always been there. I've always been quite creative, but it's something that, like a lot of people do, they always say that, there's a book in everybody and I want to write a book and stuff like that, but you just don't get started, or you get started but then you stop and that's it, it's done. So I mean, I'm a little way along in my life's journey in years.
But
I just believe that it was the right time, and meeting you as well and having that guide and the group of women that we had, which was just awesome around that time. And yeah, timing is everything. The universe and all that. I do in that, and it just was meant to be that way.
They were, and do you know what? The founder members, they'll always have a special place in my heart. There were sort of 5 of you, weren't there? And do you know what I loved about when you all published and we launched together? And that was really the beginning of Mabel and Stanley Publishing. So it has a real special place in my heart as well. What I loved about that is each time one of you had finished and your edits were done and you were getting ready, everybody else was just as pleased for you as they were for themselves. And I think that's a really important part of the journey, isn't it? About, writing especially can be quite a lonely process. So having that tribe of people who support you and cheer you and motivate and inspire you, I think that's crucial, don't you?
I 100% believe that was a key part of how I got through this process, to be honest with you. And I'll be surprised if they didn't say the same. It's the accountability and stuff, and not just having one person, but I think it drives you as well, listening to other people going on their journey and getting so far in their book, and then you hear that somebody, and then you'll come along and somebody will say, well, I've completed my first draft, and you sort of think, oh my god, but I'm only halfway through. But it's a real kind of then it's inspiring to carry on with your own. And when you starting to develop their book cover and stuff like that, and it's like, oh my god, wow, that'll be me soon. So yeah, It does make such a difference, I think.
You don't want to let each other down, do you? It's kind of like that kind of camaraderie. You're sort of pitching for each other, aren't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. And good friends out of it. So yeah, lovely.
Yeah, it was a lovely group. And have you always been a reader, Jackie? I think I know the answer to this question. You have, haven't you?
Avid reader, always have about 5 different books on the go because I can't just focus on one. You know, I've got one kind of non-fiction to dip into, but yeah, I'm always buying books as well. Do them and what have you. I also, I think that's sort of, you learn a lot from that about writing styles as well, and what works, what doesn't.
Yeah, and you start to read like a writer, don't you? All of the authors that I've worked with, and you know, I say, well, go and read now. Go back and read your book, or your, you know, one of your favourite books, and read it like a writer, and you'll read it completely differently. And they all come back and go, "Oh my God, yeah, I've looked at the story arc, and now I know why they put that in." And you do start to, I mean, I can't watch a film now without saying, "Oh, that's terrible writing," or "That's great writing." You know, becoming a writing bore now.
No, it is. I think super important, and I think something that's helped me recently, actually, as well as I kind of dabble on my next journey. That helped to guide me. I just I bought this book to go on holiday with, and it was just the style that it was written in. I'm thinking that's what I need. Yeah.
It's important to get that inspiration. So, you know, obviously we've talked about, you know, you won't mind me saying you're quite a spiritual person, you're quite a creative person. So I understand that catharsis for you. What would you say has been, what are the most challenging parts of your writing journey for you personally? Or are there loads?
Do you know, I'm not going to lie. It's a hard journey, but there are kind of like peaks and troughs, if you know what I mean. I struggled to share. I struggled to share my writing because I was sort of like, oh my God, what I think is crap, and you know, but then nobody will tell me anyway because they'd be too polite, and you know, and what have you. I really struggled to share, and I think you may remember that. But I think once you have done, and you get some, it's constructive feedback, isn't it? Nobody's going to slate it. It's a story, and people get a gist of the story as well. But I think sometimes being in the group as well, people do suggest alternatives if something isn't working, and I think that's key as well. But I think that was one main thing. I do describe it as like, sorry, I don't want to put people off, but like giving birth a bit, if you know what I mean.
It's definitely a book baby, for sure. I've had this conversation with so many people, and I promise you, every single one of my authors, particularly before they're launching, they all go, oh, they get proper cold feet. I don't think I can do it. No one's going to read it. Everyone's going to think it's rubbish. I can't do it. Real sort of almost like talking themselves out of it. And I'm like, breathe. It'll be fine, you know. But it's such an emotive process, and you're bearing your soul. And you are sticking your head above the parapet, aren't you? You are putting yourself out there. So it's quite scary, I think.
Oh, totally. And I think for a lot of people who write a book, you'll find a lot of their life, perhaps, or bits of their life that have been, expanded on in their first book. Definitely. I do think there's a bit of like, oh my God, there's a lot of me in this. But I mean, it's, but again, obviously, once you've given birth, there's a joyful moment, isn't it? It's look done, you know. Actually, what I was going to say is, I think there is the desire when you first start writing, where you just sort of think, I'm going to have a bestseller, and you go through all of that process. And I think once you've started on the journey, and obviously you know a lot of stuff about publishing and what have you, and you get to understand the realities of it, it also changes the way that you go about it. And like you always said to me, write for an audience of one. And I think that truly helped as well, you know. And it then becomes less about the who's how many people are going to read it and stuff like that. And I think for me, actually, I Am Agnes, I hoped it would help somebody, and even if it's one person, that would be enough.
Yeah, I mean, to write a book is a massive achievement. To write a book that even one person reads and goes, I really enjoy, I mean, that in itself is, you know, that's satisfying, because it's still only like less than 1% of the population actually achieve that. So that's remarkable in itself. And yeah, going back to writing for an audience of one, you are not going to please all of the people all of the time. I'm never going to be a person who enjoys reading horror. I'm never really going to be a person who loves sci-fi. It's just not my bag. That doesn't mean those books are poorly written. So you've got to always have your reader in mind, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what's your writing ritual then? I mean, when's your best time to write? Do you have any kind of little, like, quirky little processes, or do you just fit it in the best you can? What's your sort of process, really?
I like to give myself a word count to write in that sitting. It's normally in the afternoon, evening. I don't know if I've ever written in the morning, to be honest with you. But I think I need to have that goal, and I need to sit there and write in one go. And the clock app, actually, on it must be on Microsoft or somewhere. I'm sure it's on Microsoft, actually, Microsoft Clock. So anyway, you can use that, and you can set a focus time for 25 minutes. So you just keep typing for 20 basically, no interruptions, and then the alarm goes off, and you sort of think, yes. Yeah. Or if you've made it to 1,000 words, I'll go, yes.
But you need those goals, don't you? I mean, there's nothing like a book without a deadline to be gathering dust. You know, if you've got no deadline, it's one of those things that will drift and drift and drift. So you've got to have, and that looks different for some people. And I know, you know, there's some of this stuff out there that people say, well, you've got to write every day, and if you write for 10 minutes a day, you'll have a book, you know, at the end of 3 months or whatever. I cannot do 10 minutes a day. I can't. Probably you know me well enough to know I'm a bit of an all or nothing kind of a girl, and I find that really, really disjointed to do little snippets. I like, because I have to read the chapter that I've written before to get back into it, and then I just go down this sort of rabbit hole, and I can't get out then. And that for me is when I'm most productive, I would say.
Yeah, actually, thinking back, when we did I Am Agnes, I had a target of 5,000 words a week because I'd given myself a deadline to turn it around. And I can't even believe now that I actually did 5,000 words. And that was every evening before bed. But obviously, I couldn't do 10 minutes because you do have to read some of what you've written before to get back into the groove of it. And yeah, I think obviously I did give myself a tighter deadline.
It's definitely like a deadline to motivate you. It's like homework, isn't it?
And then I did it, but I must admit I did struggle with the having to read through it again and again because I just think, oh my God, no, not again. I get bored of my story.
Bored of my own story, yeah.
Just kind of fine tuning things as well. But I know it's just an amazing thing to have done. And I could not have done it without you and without girls. So I'm super grateful.
Thank you. They were a gorgeous bunch. I mean, we couldn't have had a better set of ladies. So tell people what's going on now in Jackie's writing world.
Well, I've obviously started again. And I found it a bit more difficult to find my way with this one. First of all, it was difficult to lose Agnes. And so I've allowed myself the, whatever you might call it, of keeping the name for now, although it's not, I don't think, it's not going to be her. And And as I was saying, I really struggled to get the voice right in terms of how I was going to write it, whether it was going to be first person, narrator style, third person, and all of that jazz, and just trying to get the story right. And I read this book, a different book, and I'm just like I am Agnes's first person, and I just have to go with first person. I have to write and create this kind of like, obviously there will be elements of me in it, but I can be kind of like, I can go mad in my head kind of thing, go really, really quirky, keeping the storyline. But it's just, I think it's just my style. I find it to write in any other way. And I think you really get into the depths of the character. You become her almost. I'm right at the beginning again of the journey. I started and stopped, but I'm just getting going with it again. So hopefully I am on a kind of mission to get really into this now. And yeah,
marvelous.
another one almost ready by the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's good, but it's really good that you found your style, because it's like a musician, isn't it? If you listen to Ed Sheeran, he's got, you can tell an Ed Sheeran song a mile away, can't you? But it's not that he's not. I think he's a genius, a lyrical and musical genius, but he's got that style and he's comfortable in that style and he's found that style. And it's the same for writers, isn't it? Once you find your style, once you find your voice, once you find what kind of really floats your boat creatively, that I think is when you'll sort of discover your zone of genius, if you like.
Totally. But I think I tend to go in and start criticising myself about, but you should be able to write it like this. You should be able to do this, that, whatever. But I think, if it's, I just believe you have to trust also that is your gift. That is your way of writing and that is your style, and just own it and just with it. I think I've had to go through that process, which is a bit lengthy, but to realise that it's going to have to be this way or the highway.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It'd be a very boring world if all books were written in the same style, wouldn't it? I mean, that would be a bit dull. Can you imagine? So I think it's, and people come back time and time again to an author because they like their style. They come back to a musician because they like their style. They come back to movies written by a certain director because they like that style, don't they? So again, that's your audience of one, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I was trying to make it, I think you can overcomplicate things.
You can certainly overanalyze. I
do a lot of that, yeah.
You and me both, my love. You and me both.
But it's I really, really, if you really want to write a book, I think. Sorry, you may have been coming to this question.
No, this is good. So, what your top, Jackie? What are your top tips for new writers?
I think if you really want to write a book, I think do your research and find somebody who kind of facilitates the groups, like Karen, I guess, and go along and see how you feel with the people that are in the group. I can't say enough about accountability and the consistency as well of having regular meetings and feeding back and feeling comfortable with the people that are in the group as well to be able to do that. But obviously I would always recommend you, just because I know you know the ins and outs of it and you've written so many books yourself as well. I have trust in you, and I think that's absolutely key. It's not about, you're not out to make money out of somebody. I see you as a guide, if you know what I mean. Obviously money makes the world go around, but I think as you told us, with lots of publishers, you end up giving them loads of money and not going anywhere with it. And I think it's just important to be real about it.
You need that. It needs to be a safe space. It needs to be, you want feedback, but you want it to come from a place that you trust. You want to be able to trust the people that you can share. I think that's important in life anyway. For me, I think that's quite a biggie. But certainly that accountability, really, I think is key. And writing can be a bit of a lonely process as well. So it's nice to have people to share it with. And like you said, that can be quite scary. You know, I know you kind of struggled for quite a while to share your writing, because then you're sort of thinking, oh, is it good enough, or are people going to like it? And then once you've done that, then it becomes hugely motivating, doesn't it? So that's a good thing. So before we go today, Jackie, it's been lovely speaking to you as always. What do you see as your vision for your writing journey? Where would you like your writing journey to go?
I want to continue to write more, to be honest with you. I obviously will be writing another book in first person, but I will take each one as it comes up. I'm always inspired by actually perhaps probably bits of mythology, Plato and stuff like that, which was what drove me with I Am Agnes. And I think it just pops up. But something actually I have read that I was going to say was, if you don't write it as an idea, I just think it moves on to somebody else, the idea, and somebody else will write that story. Yeah. So if you've got something in you, just give it a go. Give it a go.
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? And you know what, if you do it for nothing other than the sheer pleasure and the fun and the enjoyment and the achievement, that's kind of what life's about, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jackie. You can find Jackie's book, I Am Agnes, available on Amazon, and watch this space for book number 2. We don't have a title as yet. She's moved from one title to another. We've got lots of working titles. So there she is, proudly displaying I Am Agnes. It's a beautiful read. It's a really heartwarming, touching story. It's a lovely read. And Jackie's got a very unique, beautiful style of writing. I love reading your writing, so please do continue, because we'll all be pleased to read more from you. If you've liked today's episode, please like and share and follow if you would like to see more of the same. If you have any questions at all, you can email me, Karen@MabelandStanleyPublishing.com. Sorry, I forgot the .com. I'm always happy to help on your journey, and I love hearing from fellow writers and people who are starting out on their journey. So thank you so much for listening today. We'll see you all again, and let's get you on the right path.
See you.